It is a difficult day inside a London, Ontario courtroom. Friends and loved ones are sharing their grief and their anger over the loss of the Afzal family. Now, the Muslim family were out for an evening walk when they were deliberately struck by a pickup truck in June of 2021. It killed 4 of them, and the youngest member, a boy who was 9 years old at the time, was seriously injured but did survive. In November, Nathaniel Veltman was convicted on 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. As many as 70 victim impact statements are expected both today and tomorrow at this hearing. Megan Fitzpatrick is outside the courthouse, and she spoke with Andrew about what the court has heard so far.
It's been a very emotional morning so far in the courtroom. Tears being shed by the people delivering the statements and by those listening to them in the courtroom. The morning began with Madiha Salman's mother delivering her victim impact statement, followed by siblings of both Salman and Madiha, as well as siblings of Talat. She was the grandmother, the matriarch of the family. Salman and Madiha married in their 40s, and then their 15-year-old daughter Yumna killed in this attack. And Andrew, they've been saying in their statements that it's actually impossible to put into words the pain that they're feeling and the burden of grief that they're carrying. But they're trying to honor their loved ones, sharing memories about them and talking about the impact that these murders have had on their lives. Madiha's mother, for example, describing her daughter as her best friend. She says she thinks about them every second of the day. Other family members saying they too think of their loved ones every day and that they cry every day. Several of them too, Andrew, talking about the fear that this attack, these murders instilled in them, in the Muslim community as well. One relative saying, when she goes out in public wearing her hijab, she feels like she is, quote, a walking bullseye. She is fearful that she too will be killed because of her faith. Several of the relatives, though, saying that this whole experience has made their faith stronger. They have expressed too gratitude to Canadians who have supported their family in the wake of these murders. One of the common themes too, Andrew, the relatives saying how difficult this has been to explain to their own children. Lots of unanswered questions from their children, including one relative said his child asking him, is Canada a safe place for Muslims? One relative too saying he once asked Madiha what she liked best about Canada, and she had replied, it's safety. The family was originally from Pakistan. Now, they are a close-knit family, clearly. They are talking about who the Afzal family were as people, saying that they were caring, compassionate, they were smart, they were passionate, they supported and cared for everyone around them, their friends, their families, their communities. Salman was a physiotherapist who cared for senior citizens. Madiha was an environmental engineer who was working on her PhD here in London at Western University. Yumna, again, the 15-year-old, she was known as a smart, intelligent young woman and a talented budding artist. And Talat, the grandmother, her grandmother, also a talented artist and a former teacher. One relative summed it up, Andrew, as saying they all were all about bringing smiles to everyone around them. Youngest family member who survived, the young boy who was 9 years old at the time of the attack. The relatives saying they are trying their best to stay strong for him despite the pain they are feeling on the inside, that they're trying their best to give him as normal a childhood as possible. Again, he lost his parents, his sister, and his grandmother in this attack. One of the relatives looked directly at Nathaniel Veltman while delivering her statement, saying, you have stolen everything from him, everything. Another relative at another time during her victim impact statement looking at Veltman and telling him, you have taken the most beautiful people from my life. So definitely some very poignant and emotional statements being delivered by these family members, Andrew.
And Megan, what happens next in the sentencing process?
Well, we are expecting about 70 victim impact statements to be delivered. So that is set to be taking place today and tomorrow. And then there'll be another court hearing later in January, on January 23rd, when lawyers, the Crown lawyers and the defense, will make some arguments connected to Veltman's sentencing. Now, he was convicted of 4 counts of first-degree murder, which means automatically life in prison with no chance of applying for parole for 25 years. But he was also convicted of an attempted murder charge. That was the one connected to the young boy who survived. And so the judge does have to make a decision in terms of that sentence. That sentence will be served concurrently with the first-degree murder sentences. The other factor, the other thing we're watching for in the weeks ahead, is whether the judge labels Veltman a terrorist. During the trial, the Crown prosecutors alleged that his murders, the murders that he committed, were motivated by white nationalist ideology, and that his crimes fit the definition of terrorism according to Canadian law. So they had attached those provisions of the terrorism law to the murder charges and the attempted murder charge. Now, we don't know if the jury agreed with Crown prosecutors that what Veltman was found guilty of doing amounted to terrorism, but in her sentencing, the judge might make that determination. Now, if he is labeled a terrorist, it won't change the sentence that he will be serving, but it would be very symbolic, and it would be significant in terms of case law in Canada. And it's certainly something that everyone will be watching for closely when she does deliver her final sentence.
CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick speaking with Andrew in London, Ontario.